Hello. In today's video, we will see how to deploy the Apache web server on Rocky Linux using Ansible. Ansible is a command line automation tool written in Python, and it is used to configure systems, deploy applications, manage infrastructure, and orchestrate workflows across servers. It is agentless, which means that you don't need to install anything on the machines you are managing, and it uses SSH underneath to connect and run tasks remotely. With Ansible, one node can manage hundreds and even thousands of nodes or servers, and it comes with hundreds of built-in modules for tasks like package installation, user management, and service control. So let's see an example of this. Here I am using an Ubuntu virtual machine, and I need to install Ansible on it, of course, to deploy uh, my Apache web server on a Rocky Linux remote server. So to install Ansible on Ubuntu, I use the command sudo apt install Ansible. It's already installed, so it's going to do nothing on my machine. Next step is to define the inventory file. You can name your inventory file whatever you want because it's going to be a parameter in the deployment command. So for me, I'm going to name it hosts.ini, and in it, I will define my remote server. It can be one server, it can be thousands of servers. So just what applies to one server applies to many servers. So I will define a category of web servers, and in it, I will define my server with this IP 192.168.93.11. And then the Ansible user I'm going to use to perform the operation, which is Mr. H01. And this property, Ansible SSH private key file, defines where my private key is for SSH. So my private key, which I already generated, is under the folder .ssh, and the key file is id underscore RSA. So I'm going to save this file. I need to do escape first and then colon X. Next step is to create my playbook file, which I'm going to name install underscore apache.yaml. And in here, I'm going to have the definition of my Ansible playbook. I pasted here my playbook, and let's go through it line by line. The first line, name colon install Apache on Rocky Linux, starts a play and gives it a human-friendly name. And the leading dash begins a list of plays. The second line, hosts colon web, targets all inventory hosts in the group named web. Remember, which we defined in the hosts.ini file. The third line, become colon yes, uses privilege escalation, typically sudo, for every tasks in display. The fourth line, tasks, begins the ordered lists of tasks that will run on each target. The fifth line, name colon install httpd, names the first task purely descriptive for logs. DNF invokes the DNF module to manage packages. And httpd specifies the package to manage, which is Apache's package on Rocky Linux. The eighth line, state colon present, ensures the package is installed, and it does nothing if it is already installed. The 10th line, name colon start and enable Apache, names the second task. The 11th line, service, uses the service module to control a systemd service. Name colon HTTPD targets the HTTPD service, sorry, and the state colon started makes sure the service is running after the play. And enabled colon yes enables the service to start automatically on boot. The 16th line, name colon deploy custom homepage, names the third task. Copy colon uses the copy module to place a file on the remote host. And the content colon line specifies the exact file contents, which is an HTML line, a header, H1. And dest colon specifies the destination path, which is Apache's default web root on Rocky Linux. So overall, we have three tasks. The first is to install HTTPD. The second is to start and enable Apache. And the third is to deploy a custom homepage. Now let's save this file. And now let's run the playbook. To run the playbook, we use the command ansible-playbook space -i to define the inventory file, which is hosts.ini, and then the YAML file, which is install underscore apache.yaml, which contains the play or the playbook. Now let's hit enter and see what happens. It's telling us here that it's trying to connect to this host and it cannot establish trust, but it is asking us whether we want to continue this operation or not. We are going to say yes, and the operation failed because we have run this as a regular user. Let's try again as a sudoer. I'm going to say yes again, and let's see if it works this time. See, to fix this, I added this option to the command, which is dash dash ask become pass, which prompts the user interactively to enter the password. This is not ideal, but it looks like it's working. So we had task 1 of installing Apache, task 2 of starting and enabling Apache, and task 3 of deploying custom homepage. So as a recap, OK equals 4, which means that uh, everything went OK. Changed equals 3, because we have 3 tasks, and failed equals 0, so nothing failed. So if I go to the uh, Rocky Linux machine, and here if I let me just enter my password. If I try here to do ls/var/ww/html, and then I see that I have index.html. So if I cut this, if I do cut of index.html, you see the line that we have put there, hello from Ansible on Rocky Linux, which means that my server was installed, my Apache web server was installed, and even this task of creating the index.html was successful. If I try to see what's the status of the Apache web server, I do systemctl status and then httpd. And as you can see, it is active, enabled, and running. To be honest with you, I did not like this way of using this option ask become pass, which asks for a password to become a sudoer. So I did the following. On my Rocky Linux machine, I created a user called Ansible admin, and I made it a sudoer, of course, because it needs to be a sudoer. And then on my control node here in Ubuntu, I generated an SSH key and I copied it to my Ansible admin home directory on the Rocky Linux remote machine. So now if I do here on my control node, if I do SSH Ansible admin at my Rocky Linux machine, it should work. So the test is fine. What I need to do is to edit the hosts.ini file. Sorry, I need it to I need to replace here my user Ansible user with the user that I just created, which is Ansible admin. I'm going to save this. And now let's try again our Ansible command. So it is, I will remove this ask become password and let's see what happens. And as you can see, it's working fine as expected without asking us a password. It says OK equals 4 and changed equals 0. Changed equals 0 because it's this task already been executed, but just to make sure that it works without requiring a password. And there you have it. You've just seen how easy and secure it is to automate Apache installation on a Rocky Linux server using Ansible, from SSH key setup to privilege escalation without compromising security. This workflow is clean, scalable, and production ready. Until next time, keep automating and keep leveling up.